What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. I am out at the project site today and wanted to revisit the topic of polycultures and guilds because it is a popular one. It is one of the major design elements in the field of permaculture. Very quickly, a polyculture is a mix of two words. That's poly meaning many and culture meaning cultivar. So a polyculture is many cultivars coming together. Very different than our current gardening paradigm, which is monoculture. One cultivar, a peach farm, a corn plot, a blueberry farm. Those are all monocultures and very different than how we're growing out here. Now in a polyculture, you plant in guilds. A guild, in a simple term, is a grouping of trees and plants that come together to work together in a natural symbiosis. And in a guild, many layers of a food forest can be seen. We start with an overstory layer, like our nut tree right here. This is an all-in-one almond. This is going to be one of the largest trees in the landscape in a couple years. And that's going to get about 80-90 feet tall. The next layer down is going to be your fruit trees. So we have a centralized nut tree, and around it we have an apricot tree. We have a plum tree behind it, and we've got a mulberry tree not too far away. Which is producing. So lots of mulberries coming on right now. The difference between monoculture and polyculture is obviously the yield you're going to get. We have multiple cultivars of plants in one area crammed together, so we're going to get a lot of different things growing. The next layer down from your small trees is going to be your shrub layer. Our shrub layer consists of quite a few things. We have blackberries, thornless blackberries, and we've got a whole hedge of blackberries creeping down this plot here. We also have Elaeagnus, multifloria, and umbellata, both out here. These are nitrogen fixing edible berries. They're a shrub. These are our shrub layer. Next layer down is going to be your vegetable layer and ground cover layer. That's going to be represented with our comfrey. We have comfrey growing out here under all the trees. And as a ground cover, we have Alpine Strawberries. And they are coming up. Let me show you if I can find one. We do have Alpine Strawberries out here, I promise. Here we go. I really want to show you one because they look interesting. So we have mulberries, Alpine Strawberries, blackberries. We have Elaeagnus, gummy berry coming up. Other layers in a food forest are also a root crop layer, which we don't have represented today, and a vining layer, which we also don't have represented. Our vining layer, this forest is not yet mature enough to introduce a vining layer, so we haven't. More shrub species, we have elderberry, and then just another one of our fruit trees, plum. So planting in groups and patches like this is there's no competition here. This Elaeagnus is not competing with the nut tree, even though they are in close proximity. This Elaeagnus will never get as big as this nut tree. This Elaeagnus is providing nitrogen in the roots. It's a chop and drop plant that we can use to mulch this tree over with. The root layers, the roots are at different soil strata. So this nut tree is going to throw down a really deep taproot and then start spreading out. Meanwhile, that Elaeagnus next to it will never get a root system that goes deeper than 2 or 3 feet. Same story with the shrubs here of the blackberries. The root zone of these blackberries is never going to compete with the plum tree next to it. The plum tree is going to go wide and then deep, quite a few feet, and then the blackberries here will only have a root system that goes maybe a foot deep into the ground. So polyculturing and mixing your plants together in groups and bunches, once again, way more beneficial. You're cramming more food into a small space. Here is another small guild I'm going to end with you. We have this centralized mulberry tree. Right next to it is one of those Elaeagnus, umbellata. This is a multifloria, sorry. And then right next to that we have an elderberry hedge with, of course, the blackberries growing underneath it. And yes, these mulberries are also producing lots and lots and lots of fruit coming on this year, more than what we've had in the past. So hopefully this kind of opens up your eyes and kind of at least gives you a beginner's look at what polyculturing and guilds are. And if you wanted to try any spackling of these plants, go for it. We live in Zone 8. We are in South Carolina. All the plants I've mentioned here today are excellent for Zone 8. They're excellent polyculturing. And this is kind of what it looks like in its immature state. This is a 3-year-old food forest. Hopefully it's going to get a lot bigger. It's definitely going to get a lot bigger in the years to come. Appreciate you all watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. That really helps us out. God bless.